candidate will have 1.5 minutes for an opening statement, 1 minute to answer questions, and 1 minute for closing. And we're going to start with Chris Brown.
First, I want to thank Hollyglen for giving us this forum this afternoon. Glad to see everyone. My name is Chris Brown. I'm running for Hawthorne Mayor. My platform, of course, is economic development. We have to set up an ethics commission here in the city of Hawthorne, and also public safety. I've also been endorsed by LA County Fire with Alex Vargas. So the good guys went with us. My background is telecommunications. I'm a former account executive for Nextel and AT&T Wireless. I've been endorsed by numerous elected officials. Your councilwoman, Olivia Valentine, State Assembly Member Isadora Hall, LA City Attorney Carmen Tuchanich, and numerous others. My current business, I have a company called Asset Management Recovery. We do securitization audits against banks for consumers, for home ownership. I've saved over 36 homes here in the city of Hawthorne, and a lot of them are your friends and family members. So I'm looking for your vote on November 5th to move Hawthorne forward, definitely on the economic development side, starting with the Hawthorne Mall and also another development further down south off of 138th Street and Hawthorne Boulevard.
Thank you. Danny Juarez.
Good evening. My name is Danny Juarez, and I want to take this opportunity to thank the League of Women Voters and the Hollyglen Homeowners Association. I moved here into the Hollyglen area in 1976, and I've had my kids grow up. They're all adults now, and I have a grandson, which keeps me going. I've served this community in a number of capacities. I served on the school board here. I've also been the city clerk for 12 years, city councilman, and then 2 years ago, you elected me to your position of mayor. In those past 2 years, we've accomplished a great deal. I actively participated in two major things, and one was the SpaceX contract to keep them here for 10 years. We did some branding that makes sure that every time they send out a press release that it says Hawthorne, not the Los Angeles County. And then Republic Services. I worked with them, and we were able to get $2 million for the next 2 years, because we need the money. And with that, they're here with us for 10 years, and we froze the rates, the residential rates. We froze them for 2 years, plus we got money to do infrastructure improvements. So I'm just asking you on November 5th to please vote for Danny Juarez and re-elect me to the position of mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Jose Gutierrez.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening, everybody. My name is Jose Gutierrez, and I'm running for mayor for the city of Hawthorne. First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here tonight, and I want to let everyone know that I'm happy to be here. I moved to Hawthorne 10 years ago with my wife, Beatrice. Beatrice, please stand. Love you. Together, we're raising our 15 and 4-year-old children in the city that we love, in the city that I've worked hard to keep and maintain and advance. My background includes a degree in medicine, certificates in real estate, and in the legal field. I served as president of the Hollyglen Homeowners Association for 4 years. During that time, we built strong ties with our police department. We enhanced our neighborhood watch program, reducing crime, and we also produced a clean sweep program which eliminated graffiti and trash from our streets. I'm happy to say that these programs improved the quality of life in Holly Park, and these are programs that I'd like to bring over to Hollyglen and to all our neighborhoods. That's why I'm endorsed by the presidents of the Hollyglen, Ramona, and North Hawthorne Homeowners Associations. These are the programs that good leaders bring out and make happen. But sadly, our city is going through a failed leadership, and nothing highlights this more than the incident with Max the dog. When the days following the incident with Max the dog, our mayor and our council were nowhere to be found. They canceled meetings. They went ahead and left the police department to hang out for itself.
Thank you. The first question, starting with Danny Juarez. I'm going to put two of your questions together. How can your leadership role as mayor improve the city of Hawthorne so that the city can reach its full potential? And the other one is, what is number one policy initiative in any city across America that we should emulate in Hawthorne?
Two very good questions. My answer to the first one is leadership and experience. And I didn't just come to my first rodeo during this election. I've built my way up. I've earned your trust all the way up, from school board to city clerk to council and to mayor. So with that comes a lot of experience. You observe a lot, and you get to meet a lot of people. And one of the things that we've been doing is making a lot of changes to our ordinances. We've been making a lot of changes to resolutions to move the city forward. There's so much work to be done, and I know I'm the guy to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Jose Gutierrez.
Try to get this microphone. Tilt it down. Tilt it down.
There we go. Sorry about that. Well, the City of Hawthorne, number one, I have a plan to address this issue. The biggest issue that's facing Hawthorne right now is transparency. And I have a plan to return transparency. Again? To return transparency and accountability to City Hall. I think that's the big issue right now in all of our cities. We just saw it with Bell. We're seeing it with some other neighboring cities. And I plan to make a change by implementing transparency clauses, sunshine clauses, to give us credibility and the needed transparency in City Hall. That is the first priority that I want to make in the city.
Chris Brown.
We need to install an ethics commission, period. A lot of cities nationwide have an ethics commission to keep City Hall clean. Torrance has a beautiful ethics commission, but what's been going on over here in the city of Hawthorne the last 4 or 5 years, it's time for a change, and the change starts at the top. We can't have our city being dragged out with blight and negative news press, and it's just not fair for here in the city of Hawthorne. We have to move forward, and the way we move forward, we have to have a change for that mayor. And everyone knows it's a situation. We have a big elephant in the room, but it is what it is. We have to move forward. And Ethics Commission, I talked to Gary Parsons about it. He thought it was an excellent idea, but we need to start an Ethics Commission here in the city of Hawthorne. It's one of our top 3 priorities. And that's what I plan to do immediately within my first 100 days, to set up an ethics commissions by former leaders and current leaders like Gary Parsons to move the city forward.
Thank you. On July 4th, Hawthorne is a war zone. If elected, would you support banning safe and sane fireworks in Hawthorne? And we're starting with Jose Gutierrez.
Well, that's a loaded question because a lot of nonprofits actually benefit from the sale of fireworks. But I've noticed that also it has become a war zone in Hawthorne. Our dogs go crazy. We have to lock them up. We have to sedate them. And I feel sorry for them because we have 2 loving dogs that we care for. Maybe the alternative would be to have an event which is citywide and maybe at the Memorial Center, maybe at Hawthorne High School, that is sponsored by the city with safe and sane fireworks and put on by professionals. That might be an alternative because we do find that people are going across the border, either to Arizona or Nevada, bringing back bombs. And that's scary. A lot of people go to the county sections in Hawthorne and tear them off there because the sheriffs normally don't come by on the 4th of July. And that disturbs me because they can cause damage to vehicles, cause damage to children, cause harm to the surrounding homes with fires. And that's a big concern. Yes, I will look into it. I do want to take a second and third look, and if it's for the best interest of the city and the residents, we should ban fireworks.
Thank you. Chris Brown.
I am a father, so I know a lot of you guys have children, and children love fireworks. I mean, if they're of age or what have you, I don't see a problem with fireworks here in the city. But it's not a bad idea to have an actual fireworks show. But of course, we don't want our 6 and 7-year-olds playing with fireworks. But if it's controlled by teachers and parents, I don't see a problem with local fireworks here in the city of Hawthorne.
Thank you. Danny Juarez.
A couple years ago, we addressed this issue, and we had a number of individuals come up and say, we have to remove fireworks. And then on the other side, we had a lot of nonprofits that came to us and said, hey, we need this to survive. So we try to reach a compromise because some of these organizations that were using the fireworks stand to raise money, they would work the number of days that they did, and you've seen them when they're open, and they've made, what, $3,000? It's not even worth it. So we made some changes. Two of the changes that I got through to our council was reduce the number of organizations that participate and reduce the number of hours. Now, it was said earlier, the problem isn't within the city because the city has gone out of its way to develop a PSA. The problem is with the county. We got to get them to come over and to do their job, which they should be doing, and they're not.
Thank you. As we consider revitalizing the downtown area of Hawthorne, what is your vision for the site of the Hawthorne Mall, which will play an important role in the economic growth of our city? We're starting with Chris Brown.
The Hawthorne Mall has been an eyesore in our community for 19 years. 19 long years. In the city where we have the local government's been here, 10 plus years working, we don't have one Olive Garden. Not one Fridays. The Hawthorne Mall, if it's done right and we can finally sit down with Armin Cabay and get this thing done, it would create over 6,000 new jobs and, in retrospect, actually increase your property values here in the city of Hawthorne. So if we fix what's going on the east side of the freeway, the values will spread on the west side of the freeways. And not only that, residents in the city of Hawthorne necessarily doesn't have to leave the city of Hawthorne to go to Olive Garden. Doesn't really make any sense. We have the room, we have the space, we have to make this happen, we have to move forward.
Danny Juarez.
Armin Gabay has been working his tail off to try to get someone into the Hawthorne Mall. Unfortunately, when they come and they do the survey, they change their mind. Every year, he goes twice a year to these mall conferences, and he talks to potential customers. They tell him about it. They tell him about our city, tell him what the value is there, and they just choose not to come. The Hawthorne Mall has a great potential, and yes, I agree, but it hasn't been an eyesore for 19 years. It's 14 years, and we don't like it. But here again, we do not own the mall. It's owned by a private company, and they're trying, believe me, they're trying to do their very best. And I have meetings with Mr. Gabay to talk about what we can go there. And if I shared with you all the ideas, you said, really? That? But unfortunately, unless we get it on paper and signed, it's not going to go anywhere. And this is something that I brought up when I started the Mayor's Business and Economic Development Roundtable, of which he is a member. And we're moving forward with that.
Thank you. Jose Gutierrez.
That's an important question because it is an eyesore and it's come up in every single debate. But what do we do about the Hawthorne Mall? I think the first thing we have to do, and as member of the president of the Economic Development Council, we've looked at it for the past 2 years. What we need to do is, number one, change our image. Our image is tarnished. Hawthorne has a bad rep right now because of our failed leadership. And that's a big turnoff for developers. That's a big turnoff for people wanting to do business with us. Mr. Gabay is willing to meet and sit down and talk. I've had conversations with Mr. Gabay in the past, and I've had the luxury of a tour of the mall right now that it's closed. There is a lot of potential, but we first have to realize that not just the mall makes up the city, but the entire boulevard. And unless we come up with a plan that encompasses the boulevard all the way from Imperial Highway to Rosecrans, then we cannot just piecemeal and let me pick this item because it's the talk of the town and forget about the rest of Hawthorne Boulevard. We have to take the whole item and improve it in one fell swoop and start putting different spots along the way, widening our sidewalks, decreasing the flow of traffic, outdoor
Thank you.
cafes.
Thank you. I'm going to, time is limited, so I'm going to put two together because I have a common thread. The first one is, if elected mayor, what would you do with the police department? And the second one is, in your opinion, what are the public safety issues in Hawthorne, and how will you work with the Hawthorne Police Department and Hawthorne residents to address these issues? And we're starting with Danny Juarez.
There's been a lot of talk about moving our police department to county. I am totally opposed to that. We did that with the fire department, and look where it's gotten us. Our response times are very slow, and we're not getting the service that we should be getting. And if it wasn't for us looking at this budget and catching that the fire department was overcharging, it would have never happened. But we did, and what happened? We got $400,000 back. As far as the police department, they're a fixture here in the city. They participate in everything we do. They're a partner in all the events, and this is what we need. As far as public safety, that's my #1 priority. That's why we approved a budget that includes up to 99 officers. Do we have 99 right now? No, we only have 94, because it takes about 2 years to have those officers go through the academy and then come on board. But we're working towards that. Thank you.
Thank you, Jose Gutierrez.
The Hawthorne Police Department is very important to our city. I love our police officers because I've worked hand in hand with them doing the SWAT training with them. I've also worked with them in our Neighborhood Watch program, and we enhanced the program in Holly Park. Yes, there are deficiencies in in the department. Which are they? The lack of staff. We do need more elements to reach the number of 100 because we have almost 100,000 residents in Hawthorne with only 92 officers on staff. We still need some more. Are there other things that are taken away from our police officers? Yes, there are. We do have issues that also are social in nature, not necessarily police related. And we have to look at those issues that are tearing down our city and using up the resources of the police department. I'm talking about the normal causes, the normal course of the day that they get with domestic abuse, with the small petty theft. Those are things that could be maybe handled through outreach programs, more resources at the issue, taking a look and talking with the residents to see what do they need from our police department, because we don't have a magic wand to be guessing for them. We have to actually
Thank
engage
you.
the public.
Chris Brown.
I definitely support the Hawthorne Police Department. I sat down with Chief Ager last week for an hour. We had an excellent talk. We see eye to eye on a lot of items. We talked about the dog situation and moving the city forward. We definitely need to add more police officers to the police force. Right now, we do have currently 94 police officers. So we tried to talk about what can we do in the future of the budget to move forward and bring more revenue to the city to increase those officers. So public safety is one of my top 3 priorities as well. And the police department is, in my personal opinion, they're doing a great job. They just need more help. So we need to get more officers here on the streets of Hawthorne.
What would be your method of approach in addressing a crisis in the city? We're starting with Jose Gutierrez.
Excellent question. As I said in my opening statement, strong leaders stand in front and center. We are in it for the good and for the bad. And a strong leader right away calls a press conference, whatever time of the day it is, day or night or weekend, and addresses the issue and lets the people know what's happening. Number 2, you hold public forums in a neighborhood that's affected by the issue. You don't run and you don't duck from the issue. The job of mayor could be hard, could be difficult, but it's also tactful. You have to be able to respond to the residents, respond to concerns that are of nature, not just so much for our city, but for our region and for the world. In the circumstance with Max the dog, it was sad that we had nobody to talk to, nobody to answer our questions for an entire week. Our police department was left alone, and if we're saying that we support our police department, then we should be front and center doing that from day one, not just lip service. I've had the opportunity and the honor of working with them hand in hand. I met with them today for 2 hours. They're a great bunch of guys, getting insight as to what they need and what they would like to see from their future mayor.
Thank you. Chris Brown.
The leadership here has to step up. It went viral. You know, Master Dog, the situation, it went horrible with Leon Rosby. It could have been handled. If our local leaders step up and voice our citizens and the news reporters, it doesn't get out of hand. Also, recently, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a methane gas spill. Nothing from our leadership. That's a huge issue, you know, and our leadership should be able to speak up, voice the concerns of the city, and move forward. And right now, the city leadership is just not doing so. They have other issues.
Danny Juarez.
When there's crisis, you have to remember that you're part of a team. And I could have gone out there and grandstand and said something that would get us legally in trouble. So before I did any of that stupid stuff, what I did is I met daily with our police captains, as well as the chief and the city manager and our risk management folks. And we talked about a plan, and this was a daily meeting that went on. We didn't duck anything, and as far as the canceled meeting, all of these hits to our website crashed our system. And we have an obligation to post our agenda 24 hours before we can have a meeting. We couldn't do that. So we didn't cancel the meeting just for nothing. We did that because we had no way of letting people know what the agenda was. But we did step up, and I made a comment at a city council meeting, which was prepared by our legal department.
Thank you. What is your plan to avoid long-term city debt like the Gold's Gym loan disaster? We're starting with Chris Brown.
We need to bring more revenue to the city, period. More revenue. Revenue is very important. We need to bring businesses here. Businesses pay revenue to the city. We wouldn't be in a situation with Gold's Gym if we had more revenue. You know, I understand that it was a bad investment. It was during an economic downturn, and you know, things like that happen. But with new leadership and moving forward, we have to go more in depth when we're loaning money, especially $2.5 million to a gym. And I think it's important that, you know, we bring more businesses here to the city of Hawthorne to create more revenue for the city.
Thank you. Danny Juarez.
Breaking news. The Gold's Gym was a disaster. This was a sweetheart deal for a for-profit organization. And as far as I'm concerned, they had never any intention of paying back the city. I went in and I audited them, and I found shocking and disturbing information. So what happened 6 days after I did this? They filed for bankruptcy because they didn't want to pay the city. Now what's happening? Each and every one of you are stuck paying $250,000 a year of CDBG funds. Those funds we could use to help our nonprofits in our city, but we can't because we're stuck paying this loan. I stood up for you, and I went to bat, and I found this out. And look at what happened. You're stuck paying the bill. Thank you.
Jose Gutierrez.
Wow, the Gold's Gym is a landmine right there waiting to happen. It already happened, and it caused somebody that I have sitting next to me some issues. Yes, it was a bad loan, but why did we get into it in the first place? Because of lax fiscal oversight. We're treating our money from our city as a personal piggy bank to do personal favors, and that has to stop. I want to implement a 9-point transparency plan that will address not just the fiscal issue, but other ethical issues that are dogging our city. You can't have a city that has the title of honorable mayor in front of it if the character is deficient in many ways.
Excuse me.
6 ways. And what I'm trying to make to the point is that if we want investment to come to the city, it's not about raising taxes. It's not about getting more money or more bang for a buck. It's about finding out, number one, what the entity wants to do with the money and how is the city going to facilitate that money. And let's see if there's a benefit for the general public. Because if it's public money, it has to benefit the public and not the individual.
Okay, next question. How do you show support for Hawthorne neighborhood associations? How will you show support for Hawthorne neighborhood association? What events have you attended, and which ones are you planning to attend, and what other ways have you been supporting them and will in the future? And we're starting with Danny Juarez.
Thank you. Every Friday we get a calendar of events, and I try to attend every event in the city that I can, especially for the homeowners associations. Because what they're doing is they're bringing their people together in that particular area, and that gives me a great opportunity to talk to people, find out what's going on, what their concerns are, and I take a lot of notes and I get a lot of things done for them. Earlier we talked about stipends and what we do. Well, that's where I put a lot of my money into providing to each one of the homeowners associations money where they can put on their events, because it's not cheap. And the dues that they raise aren't enough to take care of these events. So I will continue to support them to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Jose Gutierrez.
My origins come from being a homeowner president, which I did for 4 years. And in that time, we learned the value of hard work and bringing the community together. together. And that is what it took when Ramones reached out to me. Reached out to me for some programs. And also the North Hawthorne Association, when they were barely starting out years back, they asked for help, and I was there to help them out. What have I done? The Neighborhood Watch programs, the Clean Sweep programs, putting together the association, getting the message across. That's important. What events have I gone to? I've gone to a number of events. But I try to get myself involved in every single association, like the Economic Development Council, the Hawthorne Historical Society. I was on the Civil Service Commission. Commissions and boards that give me a better insight as to what the residents are looking for in the city, and give us an insight as to what the people are looking for in their leadership. Because if you're not in touch with the residents, then you're out of touch with reality.
Thank you, Chris Brown.
I've attended movies in the park. I've also donated monies to movies in the park. I've also been endorsed by Hollyglen Homeowners Association. It's very important for us to invest back in our community. Talked to Gary Parsons. There's a lot of little issues that Hollyglen has, but it's important as a leader to talk to your local leaders and to do whatever you can to improve the strength of your organizations, not just by fundraising, but by dialogue. Keep an open door policy in City Hall for all our local leaders.
What are you planning to do to bring entertainment to Hawthorne? How should we expand events like the Taste of Hawthorne or movies in the park? And we're starting with Jose Gutierrez.
Excellent. As president of the Hawthorne Economic Development Council, we're already planning our 2014 Taste of Hawthorne event. That brought a lot of people together. The last time around, we want to make it even better and expand it to include an air show. We're working on the details, but that's what we want to bring to Hawthorne. There's a lot of other positive things that I'm looking at as your future mayor, including trying to bring a Cinco de Mayo festival, trying to bring back the car show, trying to bring back maybe even the Christmas parade. I miss those because it brought the community together. In the city of good neighbors, to have very few events that bring the population together, it's sad. It does not do justice to our name. I'd like to be able to take my kids locally instead of having to go out of town to other cities. My 15-year-old, my 4-year-old son would love to stay in town. I don't want to travel out, and that's what I want to bring to the city. More quality events so that we can enjoy our city and not someone else's city.
Thank you, Chris Brown.
Personally, I've talked to, if you, a lot of you guys are basketball fans, NBA star Russell Westbrook, he's originally from Hawthorne. He wants to bring a celebrity basketball game annually here to City of Hawthorne and bring tons of revenue for us basketball fans. And also, I'm the founding member of a new charter airline company called Surveyor for the City of Hawthorne. Surveyor also wants to do a lot of events here. They cater to local CEOs from up north and down south for instant travel, almost like the future bullet train. But Surf Air is a nonstop, unlimited flight, one way, each way, unlimited flights for a month. They're going to be launching out of Hawthorne Airport November 7th, and I'll be there for the ribbon cutting. But companies like Surf Air will love to invest here in the city of Hawthorne moving forward.
Thank you, Danny Juarez.
Well, if you had a chance to look at our council packet, you know that we have an event about every weekend. So we do provide a lot of things for our kids, our seniors, and our adults to participate in. Last year, or actually this year, we did have the Taste of Hawthorne. It was well attended. We have tons of people there, people from all over the county, and they came to the event. It was a good event. Unfortunately, it cost the city a lot of money. And right now, they're in debt $12,000 for police service and an additional $10,000 from a personal loan. So if we're going to put on another event like this, and I support that, we got to get the money to do that because we have to pay our officers. So I encourage people to contact City Hall and find out what all the events are. This past weekend, we had the TED Extravaganza. There was a lot of people out there, and a lot of you weren't there. We encourage you to come out and participate in events throughout the city, not in just one area.
Thank you. This will be the last question. If you are running against an incumbent, what will you do to improve
mentioned this earlier, Ethics Commission and transparency. We have to be transparent here in the city of Hawthorne. We can't be stagnant based on local news and negativity from the top of our city. Our mayor, has other things going on, but we need to move forward here in the city of Hawthorne. And it's very important that we start an ethics commission that keeps our city in line. It's very important. A lot of cities have that, and I think it's very important.
Thank you, Danny Juarez.
One thing that I've learned over the past 2 years is that you can indict a ham sandwich. And here I am today. I'm not out of office. I'm still here. I'm still serving as your mayor. When we talk about, as a mayor, and I'm the incumbent obviously, we've started so much, and there's a lot more to be done. And we're making changes. But you know what? It's small steps. We can't do it all at once. I wish we could, but when you have an ordinance, you have to have 2 readings. It doesn't happen overnight. So we are making progress. I encourage you to watch cable TV, to watch our broadcast and see what's going on. And if you have any questions, please give me a call. 310-643-6139. Thank you.
Jose Gutierrez.
What would I do as an incumbent to change the office of mayor? Number 1, stay out of trouble. Avoid felony indictments. Do the right thing. The title of mayor has honorable in front of it. And we have to keep the prestige of the office because that prestige disseminates to the image of our city. And that's very important because investors, big and small, retailers, big and small, and homeowners like yourselves, like myself, are looking for a city that has that prestige, that we can call home and be proud of repeating the name Hawthorne. That's important. What would I do as an incumbent mayor coming in? Implement the transparency package that's in the back of the office, in the back of the room. That includes crime-free pledges for all elected officials and senior staff members. You get in trouble, you get removed from office immediately until you clear up your problem. Fast and simple. You can fast track it in the court. You can do that. There's no need to wait to postpone it 2, 3, 4 years like the previous mayor did and finally get in trouble. We have to bring back accountability.
Thank you. We have closing statements going in the reverse order. We're starting with Jose Gutierrez.
First of all, I want to thank the League of Women Voters for having us here, Hollyglen Homeowners Association. And I think the selection is about character. And I'm concerned about what I see here as a credibility deficit with my opponents. On the one hand, you have someone who just lost their early city council race. So they decided to run in Hawthorne. Claims to live in Hawthorne for years, but ran in the city council 2 years ago. You can't run for LA City Council as a resident of Hawthorne. On the other hand, you have someone under 6 felony indictment charges. Hawthorne should be demanding better from our mayor, and that's why I'm running. I want to bring back the values, the qualities, the character that you expect from your elected officials. I'm running because I care about the city. I want to make sure that my children who are 15 and 4 grow up in a city that they can say, I'm proud of my father because at least he did the effort, the valiant effort of trying to make a difference. He tried. If I succeed, it will be thanks to you and your confidence in your vote on November the 5th. That's what I'm looking for, and that's why we're here. Thank you very much.
Danny Juarez.
First of all, I'd like to thank each and every one of you that came out tonight. And I see people here that do not live in Hollyglen, but wanted to hear the candidates for the last time before you go to the polls. One thing I want you all to understand is what happened was nothing but a retaliation by goons in our city because I uncovered something and they didn't like it. So that's why I stood up for you. And you have to understand that. And I will be vindicated. Watch and see. But let's look at the last 2 years. Levitt's, Eureka Burger, SpaceX 10-year deal, Republic 10-year deal, Goodwill, Walmart, DD's Fashion, and then remodeled of Sports Authority, Ralph's, Food for Less, Pocket Park. We now have homes at Parkside Village and 360 at Southbay. That doesn't happen by voting yes. That happens as you work with people. So on November 5th, I ask for your vote to re-elect me, Danny Juarez, for mayor.
Thank you. Chris Brown.
I'd like to thank the League of Women Voters and also Hollyglen Association for inviting us here. I am your candidate for mayor. I don't have any negative political ties like our guys here, and it's quite apparent. I'm not upset because I was fired from City Hall or the web. I'm not upset at you because I have 6 indictments in the LA County Police Department. LA County DA has a 100% conviction rate for a reason. They have a 100% conviction rate. So that says a lot. But you know what? Let's not. The reason why I'm here is to move the city forward, and that's straight up. That's exactly what it is. And right now, with my opponents here, they can't because of their reasons. They have political negative ties here in the city. And I don't have any rocks. I don't have any special interest to beat you guys up. I just want to move the city forward. I built my first house from the ground up here at 4912 West 115th Street.
Thank you.